Another public space has fallen. This time, the Amundsen Fieldhouse in Galewood was gone. We knew it was coming. I mean, it's so funny because they have all these town hall meetings to act like they really care what residents say, and they don't care because it's over.
Why would any leader put our black communities already riddled with crime at further risk by placing unvetted non-taxpayers steps away from our seniors, our children, and our homes we've worked so hard on our own to secure?
And I have to tell you, Brandon Johnson, the mayor, he's supposed to be going to the border to see, because Mayor Adams just got back from the area.
Yeah.
And he was distracted, like telling them, hey, don't come. You're not going to be staying in a 5-star hotel. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to get cold out here. All right?
Yeah.
Mayor Johnson, when asked when he's going, it's a soundbite that I can never get sick of. When asked when he's going to be going to the border, this is his answer.
Just to clarify, when is the team?
Soon as possible. Look, I'm still running a major city. I have children who attend schools who have soccer games, y'all. You know, you all are asking me as if I'm not a parent in this city. I get it. I'm mayor. I get it. But you're asking me to give you a date, and I have to court. Do you understand that you have not had a mayor like me? I get that. I have a wife. I have children. They have schedules. And plus, we still have public safety that we have to address. We still have the unhoused that we have to address. I still have a budget that I have to address. And I'm doing all of that with a black wife raising 3 black children on the west side of the city of Chicago. I am going to the border as soon as possible. But I got to coordinate that with running the government and making sure that my wife and children are secure as well. Thank you, Lawrence.
Can you?
Was that a dig at Lightfoot?
Does anybody want to let him know that Rahm Emanuel had kids?
Lori Lightfoot?
Lori Lightfoot had kids?
Yeah.
Richard M. Daley, they had kids and schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, what a whiny little biatch. I heard that. Like, God, can you imagine if I said something like that? I would have been fired
I wasn't expecting
from
that.
my job. Well, I can't really cover that story because, well, I have soccer schedules. Please. He is so in over his head. Governor Pritzker was on the CBS show, not Meet the Press, whatever. I don't do anything CBS. And he wanted people to know Chicago's cold in the wintertime. John Anthony, don't you know?
And then folks should be told that it's going to get cold in Chicago and New York very soon. And there are lots of other places in the country that they may want to consider going. And the White House and the federal government should be facilitating that.
With more on this, let's welcome to the program. I think it's his first time here, Alderman Chris Taliaferro. Good morning, Alderman. How are you?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, the 29th Ward Alderman. So what is the plan for today in regards to Amundsen Fieldhouse?
Well, as far as today, I don't believe there's, any plans. I believe the park may be closed in observance of the holiday.
Okay. But the plan was, what I read is that they wanted to move in on Monday to this space. So our program's going to be canceled completely. I know that you have basketball leagues there, you have senior programs, you have the football team. What is the plan for those groups?
We have quite a few vibrant programs going on at the park currently, to include senior programming, youth, and young adults. That includes basketball, weightlifting. There are so many programs there that would warrant this park staying open over the fall and winter months. But unfortunately, I believe as of Tuesday, all programs will cease and the keys will be turned over, with the proposal that migrants will be used as a migrant shelter either Wednesday or one of the other days this week.
Well, how did you get the word? Because I know that you were waiting to hear from Mayor Johnson and his team. Where were you when you found out?
When I first found out about this, it was last Friday as I was driving to the Committee on Immigrant and Refugee Rights, to which I'm a member. And we were getting an update from the city on the current migrant crisis. I was called around about, I believe it was 8:45, that said that this is happening. I voiced a strong objection to it. I still object to it. I don't think we should be taking resources from an already underserved community. We've not even discussed the public safety of it, or I've not been told how we're going to secure the migrants, the hours of operation of it. And there's just so many unanswered questions. And unfortunately, even as I voiced my objection to it, I was informed by the mayor's administration that this is going to happen.
Well,
over my objection or not.
Wow.
Right. But I mean, your community, do you think that they're going to block buses from entering the space? Because they were very vocal, because this is yet another public space that's taxpayer funded that's being turned over to migrants who are here illegally. They haven't had their asylum hearings yet. So my question to you is this: should the city start working with ICE right now?
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to say they should start working with ICE. I do know that this is the 7th park that's being turned into a migrant shelter. I think there are other options available with regard to housing migrants over the winter. And I don't think we should be using our public spaces, our park districts, to do that. There's just so many different avenues that are available.
Well, shouldn't we repeal the sanctuary city label to stop the flow from the border? If you aldermen get together and just do that, we could stop this.
It should be a consideration. It is something that the voters of this city and the residents of this city should have a voice in. There is a resolution or ordinance that's been presented by 2 of my colleagues, and that resolution or ordinance should be given some consideration. Yeah. We are impacting not just the government, the executive and legislative branch of the city. We're impacting our moves, and the moves of our mayor is impacting the entire city. So at some point, we need to have a conversation with the residents to say, should we remain a sanctuary city? Because we're expecting at least 1,200 more residents on a daily basis.
Wow.
And I don't think we can sustain that as a city. We can't put people in situations that we can care about, where we can care about their well-being and their safety.
Wow.
If we remain, or if we keep getting 1,200 residents.
Yeah, we're going to turn into New York. I mean, we have 17,000 here. New York has 132,000.
Sheesh.
And that's the plan. And we're going to become New York. If they're sending 1,200 a day, and I'm keeping an eye on how many are crossing over every day, and people on top of trains, like thousands of people are coming a day. So I know that this sounds good, but when are you going to put pen to paper? When are you guys going to get together and do something? Because there's a lot of aldermen that feel the way you do.
Yeah, I think there's a growing concern from my colleague as well as the residents. And, I think the outrage that we're seeing from the residents that live around Amundsen Park and the residents of Austin, they're outraged over this decision. And I think the most important aspect of this should have been public dialogue. The mayor has to make some tough decisions. We all understand that. That comes with the position of being the mayor of any major city. You're going to have to make tough decisions. But even in the midst of making those tough decisions, you have to sit down with the residents to make them aware of what you may or may not have to do.
It's true.
And you need to talk about the pros and cons of it with the community before the decision is made. And it would be great to loop your local elected official in.
Oops.
This was sprung on not just myself, but our state senator in the district, who happens to be the Senate president, our state representative of the 78th district, our Cook County commissioner of the 1st district, and the alderman of 29th ward. None of us knew of this decision.
Wow.
So it would have been smart, in my opinion, even if you have to make a difficult decision, to talk about it first. Because we may have been able to offer other solutions rather than to close a resource that's sorely needed.
Yeah. Alderman.
In one sentence, and I'll be quiet after this. In one sentence, we're saying to our youth, stop going downtown causing problems. We need to provide opportunities for you in our neighborhood. And the next action, or the next thing that we say to them, is we're going to close your public parks.
And we're not getting them back, though. I mean, what's the game plan? Because I don't think we're getting
not gonna
Broadway
get 'em
Armory
back in
back. They said 6 months, and that's a bunch of bull jive. So
as far as the foreseeable future, I don't know when, but I do know that I've been told or I've seen that it's going to be a minimum of 6 months at least.
yeah, and more are going to keep
with
coming.
That, I could almost imagine that if more migrants will continue to come into the city, that we won't be turning that park over in 6 month time.
Do you think the Democrats in your ward are starting to feel the pain, feel the burden of their own choices? Because it sounds like they're not going to be voting for Mayor Johnson ever again. And this is a time to say, hey, come on over to the Republican Party.
Yep.
We'll take you.
Yep.
Because I just feel that the party in general puts their own citizens first ahead of people who are here illegally. Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, I can't. I mean, I can't say that. I do understand, as I said earlier, there's some tough decisions that have to be made, and these tough decisions should come with transparency. They should come with voter considerations. There's not a whole lot that none of us could do to stop a bus that's in transit or to stop a plane that's in transit. What we have to do is once they get to the city of Chicago on our soil, we have to take care of them. It's like bringing home a new child, a brand new born baby. Once they cross your doors or once they leave that hospital, they're your responsibility. And we have to make sure that we're having provisions to where we don't have 2, 3, 4, 5 years old staying outside over a cold winter, sleeping in front of a police station, possibly being harmed by the cold weather here. And so once they reach these soils in this city, we have to do something.
Yeah. Hey, Alderman, I want to pivot.
But it's how we do it and what we do that becomes the issue of debate.
Yeah, I think one of the bad policy decisions that was made was not allowing ICE in, because there's tools and resources that you guys could have been able to use that could have offset some of the budgetary problems. I think that was one of the worst decisions that Lori Lightfoot made. But I want to pivot. 41 shot in the city of Chicago. The former superintendent was hamstrung by Lori Lightfoot. This new superintendent, is he going to get rid of some of the policies, the foot chase policies, the chasing after people policies? Because as you look up Chicago, CW Chicago, I get their emails every day. And we got a mayor who says, if you're not from Chicago, keep us out your effing mouth. Well, I'm born and raised in Chicago, 21st Ward, 53rd
More so
Precinct.
than he is. He's from Elgin.
Yeah, 21st Ward, 53rd Precinct. I mean, I've knocked the doors. I was part of the huge daily machine. But what's happening? Will this new superintendent be allowed to do his job, and will he have the backing of you guys?
Oh, he already has our backing.
Right. But when it comes to him, his decision-making, though.
He voted. He was voted in by the city council unanimously.
Correct.
So that's a strong indication that we as a city council will support his decisions and we will support his leadership. Now, he is freshly, I think, less than a month. He's been a superintendent of police 2 or 3 weeks. We have to give him an opportunity to sit in that seat, to get settled in, and to start working for the people of the city of Chicago. He's already been doing that for the last 30 years.
Yes, he has.
Now he's doing it on a grander scale because he has a serious responsibility of reducing violence and reducing crime. I'm putting my faith in his leadership because he's the one that's chosen by our commission and by our legislative branch.
But what about some of the policy decisions that were made? Will
He's
those
going to have to make some tough policy decisions, whether or not he keeps those. Helping him with these policy decisions will be our Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability.
Yeah, but we know that all came from the 5th floor. I mean, will he be another Superintendent David Brown? I want to see. I want to see. You know what? You know who I really loved as a superintendent of Chicago? Phil Klein. He got it. Chicago, the decline of crime and everything was happening because he did his job. There were some people that didn't like how he did his job, especially in the Black Caucus. I'm black, if you can't. I'm black, if you can't tell.
You are?
Yeah, just by birth. That's nothing is being done about it. If I'm a Chicago police officer, I'm turning my head. Why not? Because I don't want to be the next poster child of losing my job, my pension, because because I
Going
don't
to
have the
jail.
backing of the 5th floor, and I don't have the backing of the police superintendent. That's what I want for the men and women who serve in the city of Chicago, and I hope that becomes the case, sir.
Well, as you know, I served.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for 21 years,
I do.
22 years as a police officer. When we have the backing of the 5th floor, as you say, and we have a superintendent that will consistently implement violence reduction strategies, we see a better Chicago.
Yes.
We see a city with less violence. I think we have to hope that our superintendent will be able to lead without interference, but I think one of the most important decisions that have to be made to reduce violence is, do we keep our numbers, or do we allow our numbers to keep dropping?
Yeah.
And when I served as a police department, when we were most effective, we had 13,500 members.
That's right.
Today, that number continues to dwindle, and it's certainly going to affect the way we're able to serve our residents, number one, but more importantly, the way we're able to reduce violence. If you don't have a manpower in a city this size that's growing by 1,200 people every day, it's going to be more difficult to keep our residents safe or to respond to calls in a timely fashion.
And we're not vetting these 1,200 people a day who are coming in.
Well,
So
we
I'm
know
sorry,
we're getting
they
some
don't
great
all have
people.
good
We know we're getting
intentions.
some people that are not so great.
Yeah.
We know that. That's just by nature itself, by the nature of those coming in.
All right, Alderman, we're going to have to leave it there. We're up against the clock, but we
I want him on
appreciate
my
you
show.
coming on.
I want him on
Alderman
my show.
Taliaferro, 29th Ward
You're
Alderman,
welcome.
and we will have you back on soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
When this is the sound of a crackling campfire on a cool evening, you can sit back and relax. But when it's the